Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that I think hits home for a lot of us, especially if you're a guy in your late 20s or 30s navigating the pressures of work, relationships, and just figuring out what really matters. We're talking about the illusion of control, this idea that we can micromanage every part of our lives. And I'm going to connect that to two big ideas I've covered before, which is accepting your mortality to live a more meaningful life and embracing authenticity to build a life you don't need to escape from. These ideas are deeply linked, and they all come down to one thing: letting go of the need to control everything and learning to live with uncertainty. It's not easy, but it's freeing, and there's solid research that backs this up. So, grab a coffee, grab a tea, settle in, and let's unpack how facing uncertainty can help you live a life that's true to who you are and full of purpose. This one's going to go deep, so stick with me. So, let's start with control, or rather, the illusion of control. As men, we're often taught we need to have it all figured out: the career trajectory, the financial plan, the perfect relationship. Society tells us take charge, make it happen. And there's value in that drive, but it can trick us into thinking we can control things that are just out of our control. You can't control whether your company downsizes or how someone responds to your honesty, or, and here's a big one, how long you're going to be around for. There's a classic study from the 1970s by psychologist Ellen Langer that nails this. She showed people overestimate their control over random events when they're given even a tiny sense of agency. So think about this. Have you ever spent hours obsessing over a work email, trying to make it perfect to control how your boss sees you? Or maybe you've held back from making a bold move like starting a business because you couldn't guarantee that it was going to work out. That's the illusion of control at play. It's exhausting, and it pulls you away from being your true self because you're constantly micromanaging outcomes instead of just living. This illusion doesn't just stress us out. It's a barrier to two things that I've talked about on this channel: living authentically and finding meaning in your life by accepting your mortality. Let's break those down and see how they're connected. First, let's talk about mortality. I did a video a little bit ago about how accepting your own mortality can make your life more meaningful. It's not about being dark or depressing, it's just about getting real with yourself, right? None of us are here forever, and pretending otherwise is a form of control. We chase distractions, endless Netflix binges, grinding for the next promotion, or even scrolling on Instagram for hours to avoid facing that truth. I have even gotten into self-optimization and being super healthy, all just because I'm trying to get away from the fact that I'm going to die someday. It's like we think we can outsmart time. But here's where it gets powerful. When you accept that your time is limited, you stop wasting it on stuff that doesn't matter. There's research behind this called terror management theory from the 1980s by Jeff Greenberg and others. They found that when people reflect on their mortality, what's called mortality salience, they start prioritizing what gives life meaning: deep relationships, creative projects, or just being present with the people that they care about. It's basically a wake-up call. Instead of trying to control the uncontrollable, like how long you have, you focus on making your days count. Now, here's the first big connection. The illusion of control is what keeps us from facing mortality. We cling to routines, plans, or even denial to feel like we've got a grip on life. But that grip is an illusion. It stops us from asking the big questions. What do I want my life to stand for? What would I do if I stopped pretending that I've got forever? Accepting mortality requires letting go of that illusion and embracing the uncertainty of not knowing when your time is going to be up. And that's where authenticity comes in. In another video, I talked about authenticity, living as the real you, not some version that you think the world wants. Authenticity is about showing up with your true thoughts, feelings, values, even when it's scary. But the illusion of control screws that up. When you're obsessed with controlling how people see you, you hide parts of yourself. Maybe you don't share your struggles with your friends because you're worried that they're going to think less of you. Or you stick to a job that doesn't fit you because it's secure, even though it's really killing your spirit. There's science to this too. Self-determination theory by researchers Ryan and Deci says that living authentically, acting from your core values, leads to less stress and a deeper sense of fulfillment. But when you're caught in the illusion of control, you're not acting from your values. You're acting from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment. And that creates a life that feels off, like you're playing a role. Over time, that disconnect can make you want to numb out, whether it's through overworking or drinking too much or just zoning out on your phone. So, here's the second connection. The illusion of control blocks authenticity just like it blocks mortality awareness. In both cases, you're trying to manage something that you can't. Other people's perceptions, life's outcomes, or the fact that time is going to run out. And in both cases, the answer is the same: accepting uncertainty. All right, so let's tie this together with uncertainty. Accepting uncertainty is the bridge that connects facing your mortality and living authentically. It's about admitting that life is unpredictable. You don't know when you're going to lose someone, when a plan will fall through, or how people will react to the real you. And yeah, that's tough. As guys, we're often taught to fix uncertainty, to plan harder, to hustle more, but that's just feeding the illusion of control. There's a study by psychologist R. Nicholas Carlton that says intolerance of uncertainty is a huge driver of anxiety. The more you fight uncertainty, the more stressed you get. But when you start to accept it, something shifts. You stop wasting energy on what you can't control and start focusing on what you can, like how you show up, what you stand for, and how you treat the people around you. Let me make this crystal clear. Accepting uncertainty is what lets you face your mortality and live authentically. When you accept that you can't control how long you're here for, you stop chasing distractions and start building a life that matters to you. When you accept that you can't control how others see you, you're free to be your real self without the mask. It's like unlocking a door. On one side, you're trapped by the need to control everything. On the other, you're living a life that's meaningful and true to you, a life that you don't need to escape from. So, how do you actually do this? How do you let go of control and embrace uncertainty in a way that connects mortality and authenticity? Here's a practical framework that you can use and start using today. I call it the control circles trick, and it's backed by psychology, like Julian Rotter's work on locus of control, which says focusing on what you can influence reduces stress. All right, so picture two circles. The first is what I can control: your actions, your mindset, how you treat people, the effort that you put into your work or your passions. The second is what I can't control: other people's opinions, random life events, the economy, or when your time is going to be up. Every morning, take 5 minutes and ask yourself, where am I putting my energy today? If you're stressing about stuff in the can't control circle, like whether your video will go viral or what someone thinks of you, shift your focus to the can control circle. Put your energy into showing up as your best, most authentic self. For example, when I made my video on mortality, I was a little nervous about how it was going to land. Would people think I was being too dark or heavy? But I can't control that. I can control making something honest, something that I believe in. So I focused on that. And that felt right, that felt real. And that's what authenticity looks like. And it only happens when you let go of trying to control the outcome. So let's bring it all home. The illusion of control is the enemy of both a meaningful life and an authentic one. When you try to control your mortality by ignoring it or chasing endless distractions, you miss out on what makes life worth living. When you try to control how others see you, you lose touch with who you really are. And that's when you start numbing out to escape the emptiness. But when you accept uncertainty, then everything changes. For several years now, I've been very into health, personal growth, and personal development. It's hard to say exactly what motivated me to be so intensely committed to those things, but I know that my commitment to those things led me to prioritize mental clarity. So through prioritizing mental clarity, I can now see clearly enough that it's apparent that at least to some degree, personal growth was my effort to feel more in control. I think I wanted to feel more in control of the way I felt, of my thoughts, more in control of how fast I was aging. I think I wanted to feel like I was slowing down the progress to my last day. It's interesting now, to see that all my supplements, all my cold showers and workouts, and rigidity about my sleep helped me think clearly enough to see that I'm kind of a control freak. The truth is that control is an illusion, and grasping for it prevents us from really making something of the time that we have. Facing your mortality head on, like those studies on terror management theory show, helps you zero in on what matters: your relationships, your purpose, the legacy you want to leave. Letting go of control over others' judgments, as self-determination theory backs up, lets you live from your values instead of living from fear. And accepting uncertainty, like Carlton's research supports, is the glue that holds those together. It's what lets you say, I don't know what's coming, but I'm going to show up as me and I'm going to make this moment count. So, I want to leave you with this challenge, because this isn't just about ideas, it's about action. This week, do two things. First, take 10 minutes to reflect on your mortality. Ask yourself, if I had 1 year left, what would I stop doing? What would I start? Write it down and pick one thing to act on. Maybe it's calling someone you've drifted away from or starting a project that you've been delaying. Second, practice authenticity by doing one thing that feels vulnerable but true to you. Maybe it's sharing an honest thought with a friend or posting something real online, anything. But even if it's just admitting to yourself what you really want out of life, do it. These steps are about letting go of the illusion of control and leaning into uncertainty. They're about building a life that's meaningful because it's yours. It's raw, it's real, and it's full of purpose. You don't need to numb that kind of life. You don't need to escape that kind of life. You can just live it. All right, so that's it for today. If this resonated, drop a comment below. Tell me one thing you're going to do to let go of control and live more authentically. Maybe it's that mortality reflection or that vulnerable moment. I read every comment and I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this video valuable, hit the like button. It helps the channel grow. If you're new, subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next video. Check out my video on mortality and the other one on authenticity for more like this. And links are in the description. Thanks for being here with me today. Life's uncertain, time is finite, but you've got the power to make it real and make it count. So I'll see you in the next one.